Well, good morning, everyone. Dornbusch download number 60. Dowie, number 60. It's all happening.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought it? Anyway, not a lot happening this week. I think everyone sort of in August and September, they were all getting worked up. We had that strong bounce over the last 3 weeks. And this week, of course, we record these on Wednesdays. It's a bit mundane. I think it's probably the easiest way of describing it. There's not really a lot going on.
Yeah, you're right, Andrew. Yeah, we've had, we've gotten through sort of corporate, full year reporting season. We've had a lot of economic data out, sort of as well, leading into the end of the quarter and that sort of thing. So yeah, we've sort of hit a little bit of a limbo patch. I guess now waiting for the onslaught of bank reporting season and those numbers to come through. But you're right. And of course too, we've got a US interest rate decision end of October. Reserve Bank decision early November.
Melbourne Cup.
A lot of things happening. So yeah, a bit of fence sitting at the moment, no doubt. We had a good run last week, and we're off a little bit this week thus far. So wouldn't be surprised maybe if we give up a bit more just as we come into these key dates. But we're holding up reasonably well, really.
And I think you're spot on. I think we stuck on like 3 or 4% in the space of 2 weeks. We're just drawing a little bit of breath. And I think the other thing, and we're going to talk today principally about the 2 rights issues that are on the go at the moment around Westpac and Origin. There are people that are out there sort of, the Westpac one isn't terribly demanding. It's a lot of money, but in the context of people's shareholdings, it's 1 for 23 at 25.50. So it's not a lot of money. But the Origin one, it's a pretty big raise. So that's sucking a fair bit of money out of the market as well. Let's do Westpac first. That's the easy one. We haven't got the paperwork or anything on Westpac, so there's no need to stress just yet. But relating to, you'd be taking them up, I'm assuming?
Absolutely, Andrew, yes. No, certainly, as you mentioned, it's not an overly generous proportion, only getting, one new one for every 23 that you hold. So you're not going to get a great deal, but the 25.50 looks too good to pass up.
And no brokerage,
Absolutely.
Which, gives Mrs. Doherty and Mrs. Wielandt a bit upset, but that's okay. Don't worry about us, it's about you, the client. But in all seriousness, it's a pretty good deal.
It is, yeah. The new shares won't qualify for the dividend come December, but again, a small compromise. The 25.50 looks pretty good.
Because interestingly, once they started trading again after that announcement, because they brought forward their profit results a little bit as well, the shares stuck on like 3%. Yeah. And I think that was partly because they upped rates, and I think Dan and I were talking, or you and I were talking about it last week, them upping those rates as well was a bit of a positive as well. So the market's taken that news well. So that Westpac's the easy one. Let's deal with the harder one. Origin, you've got to have your money in by next Monday. So you need to get the roller skates on that one. What are you telling clients to do with Origin?
It's got a little bit of a feel of good money in after bad, I suppose, because the demise of Origin share price over the last 12 months has been very, very tough to take. The discount has been at such a large extent, you're almost compelled to do it, or certainly you're backed into a corner to take it very seriously. I'm telling pretty much most of my clients to take it up. This should hopefully shore up Origin's balance sheet to the point where the credit rating agencies are a bit more comfortable to keep that investment grade rating, and that's really what it's all about. But between the $2.5 billion raise, the 800 million of asset sales, should get Origin's debt down back to about 9 billion, which again sort of keeps everyone a bit happier in the short term. But hopefully ships in the water towards the end of this year regarding the LNG. Again, crossing fingers and toes, cash flow coming from that not too long after, and the market should hopefully start to feel a bit more comfortable with them.
I was at a lunch yesterday, the State of the State, with Anastasia Palaszczuk, and she was talking about how Santos, last week had their first ship leave, but more importantly, also talking about pretty much, and I can't remember the exact number, but something like $60 million a day or $80 million a day. Once all these projects are up and going, every single day, LNG will be Queensland's second largest export earner. So even with these depressed prices, with these decades-long contracts, and I think the key thing that you just said there is cash flow. Origin has spent all this money last year, $1 billion a month, every month. They've got a boatload of money out there, and now's the time to try and start recouping some of that. So this, as you're saying, is really just trying to sort of shore everything up until we get to that point. So it's a good point. You should really be looking at it because it is very dilutionary, opposite to the Westpac one, which is almost, dare I say, a token effort. The Origin one is the complete opposite.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, everyone's circumstance is different. Have a chat to you or I. Dan's away this week, a slacker. So unbelievable. One job. Well, actually, he doesn't even have a job at the moment, does he? He's not even here. Anything else you want to cover off on?
Yeah, Andrew, I guess just a quick touch base here. Bank reporting season, NAB, ANZ, Westpac, yeah, as you mentioned, sort of gave us a bit of a feel, I suppose, as to how their numbers are looking. But
pretty good, actually.
Yeah, and they were good, very much so. So we're expecting some reasonable numbers from NAB and ANZ next week. I think from memory, NAB's the 28th, ANZ the 29th. And Westpac on the 2nd. But yeah, certainly the Bank of Queensland result was good. The Westpac numbers looked good. Again, hopefully NAB, ANZ come to the party with some good numbers as well. And of course, too, leading into ex-dividend and dividend payment time around December, there's some good yields out there.
And the other thing just with NAB, and I had a client ask me this morning, is around hopefully an update from them as to what they're doing with their UK business.
Yes.
And hopefully getting rid of that UK business, because that's really, from the market point of view, they ascribe about a 10% discount to NAB share price because of that legacy UK business. You can get rid of that, then you should see a bit of a re-rate in NAB shares as well. So we'll be looking closely for that as well. Otherwise, mate, I think we'll call it a day on this one.
Yeah.
See you next week.
Thank you.